What is going on, everybody? Hello and welcome. I'm gonna hang out here. I got some footage to go through. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. First of all, I got a couple apologies out of the way. One, sorry, I'm a little bit late getting this thing started. I got a brand new laptop and nothing was set up on it, so I had to go through and completely redo all of my system settings to be able to get everything to work on here, get everything to stream properly, and go through it and do all that stuff. So, one, apologies for being late. Also, I guess that countdown thing wasn't working, so I just switched over to here, and I guess we're gonna jump right into it. So I'm just gonna pull up Final Cut just so you kind of know what's going on with this video. Last Friday, I went out to the Oz Ranch, the AUS Ranch. It's here in North Carolina. It's actually the old JGR test track and testing facility that now all of the Aussies kind of came together and they own it, and they have their a training program or a training facility out there. So Friday, I went out there and was able to film those guys for a little bit. I actually went riding out there yesterday, Sunday, but Friday I was out there and a couple fast guys were there. Cooper Webb was there, Zach Osborne was there, Johnny Gerard was there, Craig DeLong was there, Rui Barbosa was there, of course Lyndon Snodgrass was there. He's one of the Aussies there. Will Reardon was there as well. And surely I'm forgetting somebody. But nevertheless, Dylan Wolf, he was out there. But bunch of heavy hitters, bunch of fast guys, and a bunch of good times that were had out there at the AUS Ranch. So we're going to do this. I'm going to pull up Final Cut. I'm going to go through some of that footage and kind of, just be able to, I got to get it done. I got to do it. So if I'm going to do it, might as well do it on here. So that way, anybody that wants to tag along and listen and kind of see what I do to go through things or what goes into my edits, I think it might be a pretty cool idea or a pretty cool thing. So, yeah, I'm just going to go through all that stuff, kind of break it down. I'll explain what I'm doing as I'm going. But if you're in the chat and you want to ask some questions, also want to open that up because we're going to be doing some shows this week, and right here in the middle of off season, sometimes it's hard to find some stuff to come up with or hard to do shows about. And so I would gladly take any of y'all's suggestions of maybe who we could have as a guest, or if there is some stuff going on, some racing stuff going on, I'd be glad to know about that as well. But yeah, with that being said, let's get started. And hopefully I have everything set up on here right because it took a while. So basically what I'm going to do is go through and I'm going to make an individual edit for each one of the guys. So this was the one that you might have saw I put out on Instagram the other day. It was just a reel I posted. It was some clips of everybody that was out there, so I tried to get them out there just as a bit of a teaser. So I'll be going back and forth to this project quite a bit because you'll see that once we start doing the edit here in a little bit, you'll see how much work goes into this. So this is a 59-second clip that probably took, I'd say, no less than 2 or 2.5 hours to be able to edit, and you'll see why in a minute. Especially, so throwing stuff up there, not that difficult, not hard at all. The hard part about doing these edits is when you try to make it vertical. So in order for everything to go to social media, it needs to be in a vertical form. And so that is what takes forever because you literally have to go frame by frame and change it, and to make sure that they stay in the center of, I mean, it's basically 1/3 of a full frame camera. So that's what takes forever. So you'll see me going back and forth to this project because all these clips in here, they're already done. So I'm just going to pull them out of here and put them in the individual clips. Here, I'll show you what I was talking about real quick. So right here is the same. This is unedited, so this is before it went vertical. It's the same thing you just saw. But see how Zach, he was at the left side of the frame there, and then he went to the right side. Cooper stays pretty close to the middle right there, but then goes out and back when he's coming in towards me. He starts in the left of the frame there, now he's in the right of the frame, now he's back in the middle. Right here, Johnny starts from the right, stays in the middle, but he's off center, and then comes over, and then changes when he jumps out of the rollers right there. Johnny coming through here again, same thing. Started at the left side, now he's at the right side, now he's back in the middle. these are all the things that you have to go through and change. This one from Craig took a lot. I might be able to go in there and show you the keyframes and basically what I did. But if you look right here, he's in the middle, and then he goes far right. So keep in mind that when we're doing vertical, when we're switching this to a vertical video, basically it's right here. The grid is right here and right here. So then he would be completely outside of it there. So then you have to go over here, start it over on the right side, and then as he goes back through, you have to go back in and digitally change that camera over because now he's back in the middle. So now it has to go back over there. And now he kind of goes back to the right. So he would go out of frame on a vertical, so you got to bring it back over into that one. And then he comes across the screen. Now he's in the middle going over to the left side. I'm sitting here pointing at my screen like you can see what I'm pointing at. He's going over to the left side, so he's a little bit off center right here. But he would still probably be in the frame of a vertical there, but that's after you've moved it all back. Yeah, so you'll kind of see that process as we go forward. This was another hard one to do with Brewy because you can see he comes in far right, and then right here you got to pick something to go off of. So I keyed it in on his helmet, and I stayed with his helmet as he went throughout the whole turn, but each frame was like a little twitch that kept going back and forth. And so when you're taking these videos and converting them, like this shot from Cooper looks sick when you can see the whole thing because he stays in there. There's a little bit of movement, like a little bit of shakiness on my part, but for the most part it was a smoothish clip. But then if I go back over here and you look at that same clip, once it's converted to vertical, because of the movement and because of having to keep them in the center of the frame, you can see it shakes around a lot more. And that one's, see how that one's kind of shaking like the entire time? He's kind of bouncing all over the frame. He takes up like the whole screen, going back and forth and going over. It's because of all of those little movements. I was going to show you, but I'm not going to mess with it and change it. But so if you watch right here, it kind of looks like a really shaky video, but then when you go back to the full one, it doesn't look nearly that shaky because you're able to keep the camera where it's at, and he can use up that whole frame versus trying to narrow everything down into that one vertical segment. But just a little tangent. Like I said, I explained it now. You're going to be able to see me doing it here in a moment, and hopefully it'll all make more sense at that point. But yeah, some fast dudes that we're gonna go over and edit some videos for, and like I said, I'm just gonna break them down all one by one and make individual edits for each one of the fellas. So since my little countdown thing didn't work, you're gonna join me along for a ride as we put out an Instagram story to let people know what's going on. Josh Strang actually just texted me right now about asking about the video, so I'm gonna text him back and tell him he can tune in and watch me make the video right before his very eyes. But I am gonna make a quick Instagram story just to let everybody know that we're up and rolling. So there are some people in here watching, so bear with me just 1 second here. We gotta do a little promo. All right, so with a little bit of technical delays, finally got everything set up. I just got a new computer, and so it took a minute to get everything going and get all my permissions and stuff going. But we are live over on Twitch. We're editing through some videos. Come join us. All right, so oops, I just clicked the wrong thing. Rookie moves right here. So yeah, usually when that countdown screen comes at the beginning, that's when I can make social posts and put it over there. But because our countdown didn't work and I instantly started talking, I had to do it now. So appreciate your patience. We're about to get into the fun stuff, I promise. All right, so let me see what Strang said. How's video stuff coming out Friday? I'm editing it right now live. So maybe we'll get Strang in the chat. All right, so we're all set. We're all dialed in. We're going to get this thing started. So we're going to start things off. You can see this one's already labeled Cooper Webb, but I kind of put this base layer in to do that Instagram reel. So basically just going to take all this stuff out real quick so we can start over. So now, since Cooper's the one that's already up there, we're going to roll with it and start with all his clips. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of sort through all these. And I'm going to pull down all of the videos of Coop. And then I'm going to go back and do this for each and every single one of these guys. So I would normally stop through and like show you some of the videos and stuff that we got, but once we start editing it, you're going to see these same shots over and over again. So right now I'm just looking for the ones that have him in it, and then we'll take him out. But this one was pretty cool. That was Craig jumping, and then Cooper Webb coming through right behind him. London, Rui, Will Reardon's one of the owners of the Oz Ranch. The Reardon family and the Strangs is who got into that whole thing over there. So it's a really cool facility and a really cool thing that they have going on. And I guess they're gonna start doing training, but they do some ride days and stuff too. Just a little prep fee, depending on what your name and who you ride for. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, appreciate y'all jumping on here and joining me. Also, if you're in the comments and have any questions about either A, what I'm editing or what I'm doing, or B, you have any ideas or suggestions for the shows that we got to do this week, feel free to let me know. Like I said, we're in a time of the summer where there's not a whole lot going on, not a whole lot to talk about. Let me take that back. Not a whole lot to talk about that's going on currently, but I mean, everyone still has cool stories. Like, I want to get some mechanics on here, how their season's been going. Really, the sky's the limit, you know what I mean? So this was actually when Cooper first came onto the track. This is one of those things where I know that this is when he first got on the track. He kind of did a sight lap to feel it out. I don't think anything cool happened in this clip, so I'm going to watch it back real quick and watch him come through. And so, yeah, nothing cool happened there. So I'm not going to pull that one in the video because it's probably going to be unusable for what we're trying to do. I think that was one of Zacho's first laps as well. So then this would have been Cooper's second lap, but same thing. I think he was still kind of just chilling and going through it. So that one, I mean, it kind of looked cool, but he's definitely not on the gas yet. Still going for another lap. And keep in mind, Cooper spent a couple years on JGR Yamahas, and so he's probably turned countless laps at this track. So I asked him how much different it was back in the day versus now, and he said the layout was all pretty much still the same. So he's put in a lot of laps out here and pretty familiar with the track. So, but the dirt and conditions, dude, Friday and yesterday, you couldn't ask for any better lines. And then yesterday it was left over from this day, so the lines that were broken in by these guys, which for me it was pretty cool to ride because pro lines are so much different than normal lines. So to see the lines that be able to ride the lines that they put in is completely different than if you go out to a C-class practice day and have lines going everywhere that start in the inside and end up on the outside. Like every open ride day you go to, that's what happens. rut starts good in the beginning and then ends up fading all the way to the other side of the track. These lines were sick. The ruts are sick, smooth. It was cool to be able to go ride a track that they broke in. This was what was that clip? Oh, it just brought me all the way back there. This is one of the clips that made it in. Oh, no, it wasn't. Same shot, but different lap. I think this is the one we were at. So same thing, like that must have been at the beginning of one of his sessions, or one of his motos, because you can see he's just kind of chilling and jumping that thing. First of all, this jump is absolutely massive, and every single one of them treat it like it's just like a little braking bump, and you just gotta burp right over it. But anyway, just because of the way that one was, we're not gonna put that one in the video. I just posted a thing on Instagram, and I see a lot more people joining in here now. So if you are just joining on here, we're gonna, or just so you know, basically going through this ride day. Had 5, 6, 7 people out here. We're gonna do edits for each one of them that are gonna end up going up on Instagram. So right now I'm just doing them individually. I'm gonna do each one with their own edits. So right now I'm starting with Cooper Webb, and then we'll let you guys pick on who we do next. I already had a project built out for Cooper. So right now we're just going through all the clips, throw them in there, and then I'll go back and look at all of them together and see what's usable and what's not. Dirt Pirate 747, what's up, man? Afternoon. It is afternoon now. Sorry. I don't know if that was like a, "Oi, good afternoon," or if it was you said 11 and now it's afternoon and you're just now doing this thing. But anyway, what's up? Colin Keegan, what's going on, man? Hold on. I didn't see those pop up because they were in the corner, but I thought they were supposed to be up here. I thought they were supposed to be on screen. Oh, maybe they did pop up and I didn't see them because this says remove after a certain amount of time. I thought they just stayed up there. Oh, anyway. What's up, guys? Happy Monday. This one's 527. 527 down here, we're good. Right. Lost my place. So right here was I'll show you this clip real quick. First of all, I thought that looked really cool of Zach Osborne's face. But they're in a little train. I think it was Craig DeLong that came through first, and then Zach Osborne, and then Lyndon Snodgrass. I thought it was a cool shot of all of them together going into that jump. There's Wolfie. Oh, that's the one that made the clip. So look at this scrub. He hit this section better than anybody else there. Hopefully you guys can see that pretty good. Attempting to get my phone to cooperate. Phone service is horrible at work. Well, that stinks. What do you do? Everyone has different names on here, so I don't know who people are. So what do you do for work? Phone service at my work has been great ever since I quit my job. Now I get to choose where I want to be, and I choose to have phone service. I'm hoping that this thing holds up. I just got this new gnarly computer, which should have plenty of power to be able to do anything I need it to, but this is my first time really testing it, going through streaming and editing videos, both of which take up a good bit of processing power. So on my end, everything still looks smooth. Like I haven't seen any glitches or bumps or anything messing up. So if you guys see anything that looks wonky or doesn't look good, let me know. Cause like I said, on my end, it looks pretty decent. Right now, still just going through all these things. It looks like I was in the same spot, so I should theoretically have pretty close to the same amount of clips from everyone. I might have a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how many laps they did, obviously, and how much they rode, how long they rode. But as you can see, we're right here. And these are raw clips, so I haven't gone back in and trimmed them down at all. But we're at 2 minutes and 11 seconds for Cooper. And we're still not going through. So that tells me, obviously, to post them as a reel, it has to be under a minute. And so it tells me we're going to have to do a lot of chopping. And then once we chop everything down and get it down to like all usable stuff. So like what I mean by usable stuff, like this clip right here. This is a 15-second clip, and look, most of it is just sitting here waiting because it was a blind section, so I couldn't see when they were coming. So I would record early and pick them up as they came in. But so then that's where the clip actually starts. It comes through, and then that's when the clip would end. So we'll go through and trim the fat, I guess you could say, and see how long it is at that point. But then with this much footage and as long as it's taken, definitely going to end up having to pull some clips out of it. So then we'll take the best ones and throw all of them in there. And then we'll have a usable minute. Just want to let you know how much I appreciate the work you put into your podcast. I really enjoy listening to them and being able to keep up with all the off-road news. Hey, man, I really appreciate you saying that. That really means a lot. Thank you. A little bit of a lie, though, because I need to put more effort into the podcast. But nevertheless, I enjoy the sentiment of it. I saw a hole in the market as far as, like, when I was racing, I was obsessed with racing, and I wanted to hear more about racing, and there was nothing at all that you can hear about racing anywhere. And so you look at Moto, you look at Supercross, and they're a lot bigger, and they have a lot more funding, and they have a lot more people, and a lot of that is the exposure. So the biggest thing that off-road was missing was the exposure. So that's what I started now, which now there are several shows that have came after OTP, and what bugs me, and this is a weird thing that like I haven't really wanted to talk about on the show because I just don't want to sound like some type of way or something about it, but I'm all for, like, my whole goal, I've said it over and over again, my whole goal is to increase the value of off-road racing, and you can't do that without eyeballs and attention and people watching. And so with that being said, I'm all for every other, like, this needs to grow. There needs to be more places to watch, more people to listen, and more people or more places to know what's going on in the off-road world. And there's been several shows that have started after OTP, and the biggest thing is like all of them just like directly copy what I do, and that's what upsets me about them is like I'll post a specific way, they do the same post. I'll have a guest on, they'll have the same guest on. I formatted my show one way, people started doing that. I completely changed the way that I do my show and did the OTP Tuesdays, and now people started doing that. So and the biggest thing too is like no one's ever reached out to me. Like, it'd be one thing like, hey, could you offer some advice? Could you help with this? Could you do that? Like what you're doing. But like all the guys that are copying my show, they literally blatantly copy it, and none of them even follow me or offer any support, or they have other show hosts on their shows and not, I don't know, it's weird. I've had the other people on my show, hasn't been reciprocated. That's why I just think it's weird. It gets into weird cattiness, but that's my little rant on the day. This is actually from the Verb Moto Summer Shred Tour. Is that what they call it? Down at Stu Baylor's place, the Shoals MX. I went down there. I was supposed to announce, and we got there and the whole PA system was broken, so I didn't announce. I ended up calculating waste time or race times, and then running the flag. So figuring out how long motos would last, and then flagging them. But Johnny Gerard won it. I snuck away during one of the motos and got some footage. I really didn't get enough footage to make a whole edit out of, but that's why I didn't really do anything with it. But I mean, there's some good clips, but this is literally like, this is all I have. I have like less than 5 minutes of clips. So, that was Bugs, Tasha, but a couple cool clips that I can end up trying to make reels out of, but I definitely didn't even begin to get enough footage to be able to put something together and make a whole video. But anyway, those are those clips. So now we got everything broken down of Cooper Webb. We got everything down here in the timeline. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go in and edit these things, which I just remembered that I did get a new computer, so all of my shortcuts. So my last MacBook, it has the touch bar, and I use it for everything. It had like a little touchscreen thing on the top of the keyboard, and that's how I trim my clips, and that's how I did everything. And now this new one doesn't have it. Oh, you guys can't see the menu. I wonder why. I'm looking through all the menus right now at the top, which that would be good to know so you can see what I'm clicking on and the stuff I'm using on here. But for some reason it's not showing up for you. Right now I just need to so it looks like it's gonna be option and then the brackets. But I wonder, surely I gotta be able to change that, right? Maybe preferences? Editing? Commands? Customize? Sounds like we're in a good spot. Yeah, so let's find trim. Sorry. Oh, you can't even see this menu. It's a whole nother window that popped up. But basically, I just pulled up my keyboard on the computer here. I just got to change a couple things real quick to be able to do this. All right. So how equivalent is on select right edge reassign. The command set default is owned by Final Cut and cannot be edited. If you wish to edit it, you must first make a copy. Trim and custom. Oh, sweet. So trim start. Sorry, just setting a quick little shortcut here. Now that I don't have it on my touch bar, I need to be able to do it on here. All right, so I wonder why that menu didn't come up. Anyway, so now we're gonna zoom back in so we have a little bit more space to work with. We'll start at the beginning here. So that one realistically starts at the right time. This will, I will probably say that this will be a clip that ends up getting cut just because there's not a whole lot going on in it. This is one of those situations where the video does the actual thing absolutely no justice. So this is a giant step down. It's a pretty steep step down right there. That hill's pretty steep too, but this is a big corner, and on the inside there's a roller in the middle of the corners for you to roll it. And then what they started doing is jumping from the roller to downside that first downhill. So this looks like a small little jump that's no problem, but in real life it's a problem for normal humans. Not these guys, but for normal humans. Let me see, just so you can I want to show you real quick what I'm talking about in that corner, because like I said, the video does it no justice. It's this corner right here. So this is Craig. going around the outside. So if you go around the outside, there's a line, and you roll it, which they talked about building a lip up right here, but it'd be crazy to be able to jump that the way that it is. But I mean, you can see, look how quick he disappears. That shows you how steep it is and how big that downhill is. But if you go back, and of course this doesn't show it, but right over to this side, the inside of the turn is where that little kicker is right here. So that Craig, in this shot, Craig would be going around the outside, so out and around. But then, yeah, that inside little hump is there. People jump. Oh, that's Johnny hitting it right there. So you don't have much run up. And you can see how much it takes to be able to get over it, be able to downside that section and go into it. Right there's Dylan Wolf going around the outside of the same corner. So just one of those things where the video doesn't do it justice for what it actually is. But we'll keep moving on. See, so this was, I kind of like the shot of them going away because it's throwing up dirt and stuff and kind of getting swapped around. But that clip, you can see, picks up at the beginning and ends it when he's going out of frame. This is a 7-second clip. So when you start talking about a minute, especially when you got a bunch of clips, it's hard to fit these longer clips into that section. So we might end up using the whole clip depending on what's going on, or right here where he's going out of frame, that'd be a good time to transition it into another clip. But for the sake of right now going through and seeing what we got, I'm going to leave the whole clip because we might be able to use that back end for something. This is the same exact corner. So this, I think, is a much more usable clip because it's cool that it has Craig first. He's kind of riding behind him. So yeah, we're talking about this 7-second clip. I'm going to go ahead and delete that clip just because I have a clip of the same place, the same corner, and I like that clip better. So, because we still get the same clip as before. This time we had Craig in the front, but same thing. I'm gonna leave it long, and obviously that one's even longer because it's 8 seconds. But a little bit more dynamic in that shot, a little bit more stuff going on. Sorry, just checking my phone real quick. It keeps going off. Strang checked in for a little bit and said he wishes it was him riding. I wish it was him riding as well. Still healing up from that broken arm, broken wrist. So it's a bummer Strang hasn't been on the bike, but letting that thing heal so he can come back. Obviously, everyone saw that he missed snowshoe. So hopefully we can see him back on a bike once that thing is fully healed up. But yeah. So this is a shot here coming into that corner. It's a way longer shot than it needs to be. So I'm going to start it basically when he's coming into the corner right here and transferring into that sit down. And keep in mind, these are just loose cuts, basically just to see how much we're actually working with. I was going to say it cut off a lot right there, but it's because I drag into the corner too. So right there is when he basically gets too far away to start seeing, so we cut the rest of that stuff off. This was a shot I was kind of playing around with to see if it looked good. Kind of came out weird, but we'll see if there's a place for it. But first opinion is that it's probably going to be. That's the same section. So those are 2 laps back to back. That one was a little bit farther over on the right side. I'm gonna leave both of those. This is a situation like before where we had one clip that was better than the other clip, so we deleted the one that we didn't want to use. But this could turn into a different situation because same thing, we're going to be battling time, trying to get all this stuff down into a minute. And the cool thing about this clip here is he goes out of frame. And so when he goes out of the frame, it gives us another opportunity to use that to be able to transition it into something else, where this one, he stays in frame and hits that next corner, so that might work out for something as well. But little movements like this, like basically when I go to stop recording, it takes a second for it to stop recording. So when you see it pan away like that, it's when I'm already going away from it and just the recording hasn't stopped yet. So I go through these frame by frame to see when that motion starts, which looks like it starts right about there's when the camera starts moving. So then we just trim the last little bit of that off. That's that shot we talked about at the beginning. I thought it looked sick. I love that shot. I wish I would have been a little bit smoother. Things like this drive me nuts. Like how he goes, his wheel is out of the frame right there. Like his entire rear wheel is gone. Now his entire rear bike is gone. It's just him barely in the frame. Stuff like that drives me nuts. Like you should see. I got a folder of pictures that I've taken since 2016. And if one little bit of a helmet is out of frame, if one little bit of a tire is out of frame, if something goes out of frame, I don't even use the picture. I don't post it. I don't like it. It never sees the light of day. So I get weird about stuff like that, especially like with this shot. Look how until I went frame by frame, I didn't realize how much of him was actually out of frame. Like right there is just waist up. So like stuff like that I hate using, especially with pictures, because pictures you're just sitting there looking at it. Video is completely different. Pictures are so easy. It's so easy to go get a good picture. It's so easy to edit a picture. And pictures are cool because it kind of freezes the moment in time. The setup doesn't matter. If you mess up at the beginning of the corner, it doesn't matter. If you mess up at the end of the corner, it doesn't matter. A picture freezes that spot in time, where a video, you can see the whole thing, so it exposes a lot more of that stuff on there. But a shot like this is too cool to just throw away. So I guess part of that is still using stuff like that, but then remembering it for the next time that you're filming to make sure you don't film like a dummy, and that you get the shot instead of letting them go out of frame that bad. This is my first time editing on the new computer as well, and like I said, dealing with these shortcuts. Everything's just set up a little bit differently. There's some more stuff that I know I'm going to need to set up and change, but I'm not going to do it right now. I got the main things that I'm doing. I don't want to hold this up anymore than I need to. So that's the same shot there. This one just looks a little bit more raw. He definitely whips it a little bit more at the top than he does in this one. This one might be a hair smoother. Not much. But for me, when I'm looking at these two clips back to back, I almost think the shaking on this one and going out of frame kind of adds to the actual section. But I like that he came in, like I was wider on this one. So I get him and his whole body going off the face. And same thing. I guess there was a dip right there because both times I miss that shot, letting him go out the bottom. And then went too high going into the top, and he's pretty far away right there. But yeah, in this one, you can see he gets a little bit more sideways, and his leg's already out while he's in the air. So in my mind, I think that looks better. He kind of did the same thing there. I don't know. I'm making the call. If I sit here and dwell on it for too long, then I can never make a decision. So we made a decision. We're moving on. I don't know what this clip's gonna be. Oh, there he is. So same thing. This is one of those situations where it's easier to sit there and hold at something for a little bit longer. Better to be early than to be late, especially when it comes to stuff like that. So right there, it kind of gets hidden from the frame. So we'll take it out right there. And you can see the camera moved after I stopped recording there on that one as well. So we had to cut it out anyway. This shot, just off the top of my head, doesn't look like it's going to be very usable. Basically, the only cool thing in this is the scrub. And in the scrub, he goes completely out of frame. I go too low, and then he beats it out of the frame to the left. So probably not going to use that one either. But right here you can see some of the boys chilling. That's Craig. That's Johnny. That's Josh Strang. He got the track prepped out. Like I said, he wasn't riding. That's Cooper's mechanic. Zach Osborne's wife. I can't really tell who that is. Might have been Cooper's buddy that was out there. That's Zach's kid. I don't know. There's some people. I'll just check in the background. Like I said, I don't think that one's gonna be very usable. This was a shot that was in the Instagram clip. So this is one, like I said, we'll keep it here for a placeholder, but I've already keyframed it in on the Instagram one, so that will be one of the ones that we'll go back to Instagram and pull from, so we don't have to redo the same thing that we already did. So we will keep it as a placeholder. Big Tom! What's going on, dude? Why are my chats not popping up? Hold on, let me pause this. Why are my chats not popping up? Oh. That was the wrong button. Why are my chats not popping up on screen? They should be. But they're not. Like when Big Tom just said hey. When Big Tom said hey before, it'd pop up on the screen. I don't know. I guess I'll have to work on that for later. Oh, looks like we lost our spot. Distracted too easy. So we saw these ones. Saw that one. Saw that one. Saw that one. The Instagram clip that we're talking about. Oh, this is the one that we were on. So yeah, this is one that I don't know how usable it's going to be. It's a really long clip. So once again, time is the most valuable thing that we're going to be battling here. And this being a or a little over a 9-second clip, you can see right here. That's 1/6 of the entire video in one clip, and 1/6 of the entire video in one clip. It's not a very entertaining clip. A lot of downtime in that one. But I'm gonna try one thing real quick just to see if we'll be able to salvage it. So I just cut that clip up, and I'm gonna go right here. I just had deja vu really bad for a moment there, like I've done this before in this exact situation. Anyway, so we're gonna speed this up. Let's go 8 times and see if this makes the clip any good or not. No, so that looked like crap. That looked really bad. Let's go back and do 4 times and see if that helps at all. Because he goes behind the tree, you can't tell what's going on, so we're going to take that whole clip out just because I don't think it is. See, this right here is the same shot. Better shot of the corner. Better shot of him going over. So that's the same corner, and then that's the same little scrub going into that downhill jump. So we'll leave that one in and delete the other one. So this is the top of the rollers, and then this was the next lap. Basically getting him continuing on from there. And what I was looking for in this one, like right when they land, you can kind of see, I don't know, I like the way that the dirt looked after they landed up on there, so I was trying to get a shot of that. Oh, so I have the whole thing full screen right now, and you guys can't see that. Yeah, like my whole screen is that clip right now. I wonder what makes it to where you can't see that. Oh. That ain't it. I could do it like this. But then this lets you see my whole monitor, but then if something weird pops up, nothing weird, but just text messages and stuff will probably pop up. Let's do this and see. Sorry guys, we're kind of changing it on the fly. See if we can make this look any better. Let's save that. And now, okay, so that works. Figuring this stuff out on the fly. But yeah, so what I was saying is right here after the rollers, I thought it looked cool when he's kind of throwing the dirt up like that. So that's why the second one, I filmed it that way. Just to kind of see. Keep going to those roller clips. And these rollers at an angle are actually pretty hard to ride. A lot harder than you think. So then we're going to end this one right after. If we use that one all the way to the point where he kind of scrubs that little jump, it'll be fine. But after that, it gets pretty boring. This is the same part of the track coming back the other way. You can see that got blurry towards the end, so it's probably something that we won't be able to use in the actual video. Then he kind of goes slow through that corner, and I know I have another shot of that corner from a different angle, so probably gonna pull that clip right here. See what else we got. That's the same corner right there. So then what we'll do with that is we'll trim that one at the end, and what we'll probably end up doing in the edit is something like that. Kind of refine that and pull it up a little bit. So that's the same corner, and it'll basically transition in. This is where he's coming into the corner. So like, this is gonna drive me nuts right here, but these are the little things that go into editing that you never think about when you're watching the end product. But you can see right here is when he first starts going into the corner. That's when his leg first starts going out. So then when this one ends and goes into it, it has to be at that same part where right here is when he first starts going in the corner and when his foot first starts going out. And so basically right there is going to be as much as you're going to be able to use to make it look good as he enters the corner, puts his foot out, and then comes in. So that was like, those are 2 different laps, but that's going to make it look like it was the same lap filmed by 2 different people. But you can see, I would even take this one a little bit longer, actually. So maybe into right there. And in this second clip, you can't see this. this is the tree. That tree right there, just for a little bit of perspective, that tree is that tree. But you can't really tell where the spacing is just because of the two different angles at it. So, but those are things I usually look out for when I'm doing something like this, just to see if it lines up and it makes sense. But that's close enough for now. That's going to give you the idea of what we're trying to go after. You get the idea. So that clip, it was a little shaky, but I think it could end up looking pretty good. We'll leave it in for now. See if we can use it. But then, like I said, once we get everything close to a minute, that's when we're gonna have to go through and start taking some of that kind of stuff out. See, that would have been a good shot if I actually kept them in. Still might be able to use it for something just because it's a little quick clip, 2 seconds, throw it in somewhere. We've seen a couple shots like this in the like throughout. This is actually a clip. I think I used this one for the Instagram edit. So once again, we'll use it. We'll keep it in here as a placeholder. But that one is I'll probably end up grabbing from the Instagram edit because I've already gone through and done that one frame by frame. So this is, excuse me. This is the beginning section of those rollers. So we have that other shot of the rollers at the top. So this will be a good one to do the same thing like we did a second ago. Transition those together. Because then we could really have like one long continuous shot of the rollers in that case, because we got the beginning of the rollers right here where he's coming into them. And remember at the top we got the rollers, a shot of the rollers going the opposite way, like at the end of it when he goes out of it. So yeah, right there. I'm gonna go in front. Yeah, so that's him doubling into the rollers. This is him up from the top going through the rollers. And then that's just a still shot of him going back. Which now that I look at those back to back, I probably won't even end up using it because you get that in the second one. But for instance, you run into another thing right here, which we were talking about earlier. You see him doubling in, which is pretty cool. And then probably pause it as he's coming in off of that one. So I think what I'll end up doing is making this maybe right there. And then wait for that one until he leaves the air again. So that should be the same part of the roller. But just because it's the same part doesn't mean it always looks good when you go back to edit it. But that looks fine. Might be able to touch it up more here in a minute, but I think that looks good enough. Alright, so now we're not too bad. We got all of our clips in here. We edited them all down. We didn't go over this last one. This last one, excuse me, I don't know why I keep burping. This last one, I'm going to find a way to put it in here somehow. I just don't know how I'm going to do it yet, just because I thought it was a pretty cool moment. This was his last lap, and Zacho had done it before where he kind of looked at me and wheelied all the way up into the rollers and then wheelied through. And so with Cooper, it being his last lap, his goggles were off, I was kind of hoping that if I was standing there, he might wheelie by it. And so he did, but you see it's just a cool usable shot when he goes wheeling by, looking at the camera. So we're gonna try to use that somewhere. But so that's 5 seconds, and we're at 124 total. So 119 total. Excuse me. Sorry. That basically means we're going to have 19 seconds to cut out. So we got to take all the clips that we have, see what we like, and see 9 seconds that we don't like, which we talked about it before. This one, we're just going to go ahead and make it go. Some edits that I do, I will have a music choice in mind. Like, I'll have a song in mind that I want to edit it to, and that kind of speeds up the whole editing process. I slept more last night than I've slept in like a week. I don't know why I'm yawning so bad right now. But yeah, sometimes I'll have a song in mind that I'm going to edit to, and that kind of changes the way you go at it because you got to line up clips with music breaks and stuff like that. This one, I don't have one in mind. I don't have a song in mind for any of these guys except for Johnny Gerard. I think for his, I'm going to use that. Go, Johnny, go, go. Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, just because it was stuck in my head. But for all these other ones, through my typical process when I'm doing an Instagram edit, I'll get it all down and get it to where I think it looks good, and then sometimes I'll take those and put it straight out with a song, and it just happens to work out and sounds pretty cool and goes together and works. And then sometimes once I put the music on there, the music breaks and some things that are going on. I'm sorry. Some of the stuff that was going on will actually have me go back and change some things around just so it lines up with the music a little bit better. Basically, just depends on what we're doing. But when I do have a song in mind, I'll go ahead and download that song on my computer, and I'll have it in here, and I'll edit it to that music. And then at the end of the clip, I'll take the music out, post it on Instagram, and use the Instagram audio. Because sometimes if you don't do it that way, you'll get a copyright strike, or you'll get your video or something taken down because your original audio contains music from whatever artist it is. So I'll edit it to it on the actual timeline here. And I'll delete the music out of the timeline, save the video, put the video on Instagram, and put Instagram's music over the top of it. So right here, I think we're going to have to make a decision about these roller clips because we see him come up, we see him go over, we still get the dirt splash as he goes. And so I don't think that this clip is going to be one worth using. So we'll take it out. Now we go back to our corner transition clips, which now, this is just how it happened to line up. But we got our double roller clip where he comes into the rollers. Now we're at the top of the roller, so it kind of looks like a 2-camera shot. And then right after that is when we did it again. This is when we did it the first time, going into that corner. So that effect of making it look like there's 2 different cameras filming the same line, I don't want to put both of those back to back. So we're going to have to take those clips and separate them at some point in the video. But like I said, they just happen to line up right there right now. Honestly, I think this might be the next clip to go. Feeling's alright. I just don't think there's enough going on to make it worth keeping. Like, if he was scraping pegs and scrubbing off that thing, then that'd be one thing, or like whipping off that downhill. But with it just being meh, and then cutting out a frame, going behind that tree, and then going over, and then into the trees, I think that's a clip that we can go ahead and get rid of. That's 5 seconds, so that's going to buy us a lot of time. So now you can see our total time here. We're at 110. And then keep in mind, our last clip here is just over 5 seconds. So really, we're at 105, but we still got to find a place to put that other clip in somewhere. So I think this clip will probably be our first clip. And the only reason I'm doing it as our first clip is because you get nothing, and then boom, he's here. We got riders. So that's why I'll probably have that be the first clip. And then I don't want the second clip. I want the first clip has to, or the first little bit has to have a lot of action so people will watch it. And we'll end up, we'll put this clip later on somewhere. So I don't like that being a second clip, so we're gonna move it and figure out where it'll go. I will say, of all the people out there, like Cooper, if you listen to him, barely, you know what I mean? Like, not revving it out. He's on a 450. It's, if you just listen to him, you would think he's out cruising. But he was putting down 2-minute lap times on a track where everyone's going well over 2 minutes. So he was the fastest one out there, but you would never know it by looking or watching, just because he's so smooth. And I don't know. It's cool to watch a guy like that ride in person, especially like a track that you know and a track that you've ridden. Like, it doesn't make sense how fast he is. Maybe, I think this might be our second clip. See how they look back to back. So I kind of like that because he jumps out of frame and then jumps right back into frame. So when I trimmed this one before, you can see that I knew he was coming, so I started zooming in, and then it picks him up with the zoom in, and he comes into the frame. But if I'm going to put these two back to back, then you're going to want it to where right when he goes out of frame here, which you could see his, I think I changed it too soon, but right there you can see his back barely over the jump. So basically, as soon as he's going out of that frame, he's coming into this frame, and that's going to make that look a little bit smoother. But both of these clips ended up changing because, like I said, we're going to pull those from the other Instagram clips, so we don't have to do them from scratch. Keep going back and forth about which one of these I want to use. They're the same section, but like I said, this one's a little bit tighter and it's at a different angle. This one's farther up, closer to the track, and you get him jumping into that corner. We'll take this one out. Oh no, that one's tough. So this clip right here is this corner. So that corner he's hitting right now is the same as this one. So I was going to say that we could use him going into that corner and cut it together and make it look like that one. But then I realized that it literally is the corner right into it. But I mean, I like the look of that. So that means I'm going to take that clip out. And because I got him going into a corner, and coincidentally it's the corner that he's coming out of in this clip, I want to get him once he's already straight out of that corner. I don't want to see him in that corner. And that's something that, like, everyone else wouldn't know, but it bothers me. And what I mean by that is this corner that he's coming out of right here, the right-hander that goes into this straightaway, that is going to be our next clip. That is that corner. So that corner he's coming out of right here is the corner that we're going into the next time. And so that's why I want him to be completely out of that corner. Like I said, mainly just because I know it's there. I don't think anybody else would pick up on it. But I'm going to get him to where he's there. He jumps into that corner, and we pick him up with a tight shot of him in the corner. So just editing these together, this will be a quick spot where you can see his leg goes up right there. So off the pegs there, and then it goes up right there. And then it goes up right there. So he does the same thing in both corners. Right there, his foot's down, his foot's up. And then right here, his foot's down, his foot's up. So those are little motions that you kind of subconsciously see while you're watching. And so I'm going to take right where that knee pivot point is to the up. And I'm going to trim this clip there. I'm going to take that one right when he goes to up. Do it as he's doing it and see what that looks like. I'm going to trim it there. See, and that one I kind of don't like the way it looks. I think that looks better. But see, then this goes good into our next clip because we got the motion of him coming out of this corner. So our motion's going from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. And then it feeds into that motion going into that next clip pretty well. Horrible camera work there, though. Cut his head off, and then jerk right, jerk left. That's bad. Jerk right, jerk left. But we should be able to clean that up and make it look decent. Oof, I forgot about this one. That's a tough shot. I like it. I think that'll transition well. This would also transition well into that, though. I like this shot. Just because he is in that corner, going straight into that one, but then does that put too many corners back to back to back? That's what we gotta look out for now. Right there, dropping into a corner, coming out of a corner, going into a corner, going into a corner, coming out of a corner, coming out of a corner. Right here, you get that wobble at the end, which this is gonna be another clip that I'll take from the other video that's already done. So that looks good. These jumps, we get him before he lands. And then coming into this one, we can see if we can pull this a frame or two. You can see his helmet just starting to come over right there. So we're going to put it right there, so it looks like. Craig. You can see we're at 104.25, so we're really close to that 1 minute mark, which tells me that for the most part we should be able to keep all the clips that we do have. We're just gonna have to work with them a little bit to get them all to go together. And what I mean by that is like cutting off random bits and pieces. So like this section, it kind of looks cool him going in the straightaway. It's nothing that you need to see. Him going into that straightaway. And since this is already a long clip, I think we're going to take it right when he gets out of that corner, and we'll just cut it there, and that saves us a second. Now we're at 103.17, which you can check that out right there. We're going to have to change that one a little bit too. See, this is what I was saying earlier about gotta have these clips separate because they don't flow together well. I'm not gonna put it as the second clip. So then going back and look at that one goes too long. We need to cut it right there. And then since he's coming out of that corner, I stopped this one a little bit early before, but now I'm going to extend that one to where he kind of goes closer to out of frame. Because that'll be kind of like him getting back on the gas and flow into this clip a little better. Because you can tell he's going into a corner. Coming out of that one. I think I want to take this clip and make it the third clip. It'll be second. Realistically, I could make that the first one. I just like this one because he jumps into the frame. There's nothing there, and then he jumps into it. But the first few just have to be attention grabbing, and I think that one is just naturally a cool looking, like, attention grabbing shot. Sorry, changing my other monitor here. So now we're getting close. I just want to pop this full screen real quick. So same thing here, like skimming on my MacBook with the touch bar. You can do the skimming, so I always use that. And now it's different. I have to do it with my dang mouse. First world problems. Big Tom about to eat lunch. What are we having for lunch today? I'm starting to get hungry myself. I'm going to have to go eat lunch here soon. What'd you get? I know there's not a Qdoba. So I'm going to guess that you have Chipotle. Or I'm going to stick with Chipotle. I feel like you're going to be eating Chipotle. Alright, so now we're just going to watch the full screen real quick. See what jumps out at me. What definitely needs to change. Something about that doesn't look right. really the only thing that stood out to me is this is a filler clip that I mentioned. It's just a short one. I've left it in there just because might use it, might not. But there was one spot in there that I didn't like how it transitioned. It was the spot that we looked at a minute ago when he's going in the corner and has the pit board, which is going to be right after this one. I didn't like the way that looked. So let me see. I don't like the way that looks. I don't think I have anywhere to put that clip. Coincidentally, we're at 100 or a minute and 2 seconds, so it might be a good clip to take out anyway. Maybe this does need to be out of the corner. That's all we got. That's such a weird transition. I don't know what it is about it. I just don't like it. Now I don't like coming out of it. This is why video editing kind of sucks. Let's see what this looks like. Maybe we get him before he goes into the corner. And then this one is kind of a weird one. You can hear his bike rev right before it. So I always, like, if it's coming into a section where they're about to get on the gas, I like to get before they're on the gas and after they let off. So you get that moment, which happens in this next clip. You can hear him getting on the throttle right before going over that jump. But it's one of those ones where if I'm going to have music in it, then it doesn't matter. But if it's going to have no music into it, we're going to have to play with the audio of his bike a little bit there. That's when that starts to get tricky in itself. So then that one, how there's motion of him coming over in that one. This is one of the clips we were talking about at the beginning about cutting out of this corner. Might try to do that to make that whole thing flow a little bit better. it'll just keep that motion moving. I will say this computer renders instantly. Like usually when I would make a change, you would see it up here, like loading that change and rendering the file for a minute. But now this one, you do it and it does it. I want some Mexican food. That's what I thought I had. So we're getting close. I'll probably just leave that clip in the end, kind of like I did at the end of the last one. Which once again, I'll just pull that clip. Now we're at 58:21. We are officially under a minute. So now we've seen that thing go from 2.5 minutes to under a minute to where we can post it. And just a couple of problem points. That's one of them. That looks terrible. I don't like that. What do you guys think? I do, but I don't. And then sometimes, honestly, like, I'll have to start something else. Like, start working on something else and then come back to this and check it again later. Because then, like, right now, you've just seen it all so many times back to back to back to back to back to back that if you take a break and you come back to it later on, then something looks completely different. And you're like, oh, why didn't I see that before? So this might turn into one of those situations. Remember that first clip is one that we're not using. So I was confused for a second. So this one, I think we'll definitely end up using audio for. I don't know what I'm going to use quite yet, so if you have any audio suggestions, drop those in the chat. But with the way that he rides, like there's no rev limiter, it's not a two-stroke, it's just everywhere. And so it is cool to hear, but it's also a good opportunity to put some sound in just because it's not anything that you need to hear. Obviously, I'll still keep the engine noises over the actual music. Yeah, we are an hour and 25 minutes in, and now we have what is the start of usable footage. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go up to this project up here. I'm going to double click it and go to duplicate project as. And this is where I'm going to change it to a vertical video. And you want to make sure that you still keep your 4K setting. So it naturally defaults to 720 by 1280. That's just the dimensions of it. But then I want to keep it in 4K just to get all of the quality out of it that we can. All this stuff is filmed in 4K 60. I edit everything on 4K 30. So our frame rate's going to be 30 frames per second. And we'll do Cooper Webb vert. Yeah. And it didn't work. How did I do this before? Oh, I think. All right, so I think what I gotta do is duplicate project as. We'll put it as vertical. Oh yeah, you gotta do smart conform. Smart conform. So now what this is gonna do is this saves a lot of time in and of itself, but we're still gonna have to dive into it quite a bit more. Oh, I got piss stains. Sorry about that. What this is gonna do is it's gonna take, and it does it pretty well, but it's gonna take all of our vertical footage, so you can see this is all horizontal footage. If you hold a phone camera sideways like this, or any regular camera, if you hold a regular camera normal, this is how it's going to be. It's going to film in a rectangle. It's going to film wider than it is tall, because all the TVs and monitors and stuff now are widescreen. So that's what it's going to go in as. When you look at your phone, though, you look at your phone upright. And so obviously there's a big difference in your phone being this way and your phone being this way. And so when you post to social media, you're looking at everything vertically. You're not scrolling through Instagram with your phone sideways going through it. You're scrolling through Instagram up and down. And so you want to post that video vertical. So usually what you would have to do is create a timeline that had the vertical thing in it, and you have to go in and manually enlarge every single clip and every single video and put it in there manually and blow it up to size and make sure it looked okay. Now with a new update, they will go through and put everything vertical for you, so it blows up and becomes vertical, and it does an okay job with trying to keep everything in the frame, but it doesn't do a perfect job. And so you can see how much it goes in and out of frame right there, which is doing a pretty decent job. It tries to keep your subject in it, but you can see how much he's going in and out of frame. We can't have that happen, and so that's when we have to go back in and do everything frame by frame, which you're about to see me do. But this will take your horizontal video and turn it vertical. But the work is far from over. And like we mentioned, we do have a couple cheater clips here that we've already done. So right there's the first one. Is this shot. So I'm going to delete that shot and put this shot back in. Actually, hold on. I'll show you the difference real quick of what the end result's going to be. So these are the same two clips like that. This is what we're about to do to every other clip, but this is so you can see what's going on. When we converted it to video, this is what the clip looks like. You can see right there is completely out of frame. And now we look at the next one. When he goes up, he stays in frame the whole time. His helmet's still in the center as he goes all the way over the ramp. So you can really see the difference in this section. So he's out of frame right there, stays out of frame. And then you can see in this one, when he goes up, he's right there close to the middle the whole time. So that is our next goal in making this whole process work. But like I said, I already went through and did it for a bunch of these clips. And so all the ones I already did it for, I'm going to reuse those and save a buttload of time. copy that. And that's going to be this shot. So same thing. Put it in. This is what the shot looks like normally, which it actually did a pretty good job converting it this time. And this is the shot after it's already been fixed. So you can see the differences again at the end right here. So right there, completely, his body is almost completely out of frame on the left. And then once he lands, now he is completely out of frame and the camera's working to catch back up with him. And look at this one. He's in the middle, still going up top. And then you can see how much the camera moves over right there. So in that last shot, at this point, Cooper was all the way out of frame. And now he's right there in the middle with his rear tire going a little bit out of frame. And then once he lands and goes through the corner, the camera keeps up and keeps him in it. So those are just the little differences going through it. And the reason that it can do this is because when you take that horizontal footage, it would be going out both sides of this. And so we're just basically looking at a little screenshot of it. You can't control the up and down because the up and down is still normal. It just zooms in on that, if that makes sense, to be able to bring you that vertical footage. So you can change the left to right because there's a lot of extra space to work with, but you can't really change the up and down. We're going to go back and look at our stuff that's already been done before. Shot of Zacho. And so then the only other one is just this wheelie one at the end, which we have it at the end of this clip as well. So we're going to, well, I'll do the same thing. I'll show you side by side. So this is the original wheelie clip, which is pretty good. He just goes out of frame right here. And then this is the one that we've already worked on before, which as he comes by, he stays in frame. You can see him look. Wait, which one's which? Now I'm confused. That one actually looks better. I don't know which one is the new one. Maybe I didn't change it for this one. Yeah, I almost think this first one looks better, and the first one is the one that it did automatically. I think that's good enough. I'm going to take it right here. So this is what we're going to do to all these clips, but you hit the little transform tool key there, and then hit that keyframe key. But see, so now basically we're going to go over the next couple frames where he starts going out, and we're basically going to pull that back in. If you look right above the clip, you'll see the X and the Y. As I mentioned before, the Y is the horizontal axis. It stays the same. So the hard part about all this is making sure that's at 0 each time, because you want to change the left and right, but you don't want to change the up and down, because then you'll have spots on the other end. You can blow it up a little bit bigger, but all of our shots are, I mean, it's cutting his head off a little bit anyway, so we're not going to cut it bigger or blow it in bigger. So we have to go through and make sure that all of the Y's are 0s as we're going through and putting it together. I don't know why this is being so difficult. Might be some settings I'm going to need to change with this new computer. Starting to go cross-eyed. Staring at this thing for 2 hours. Alright, so we're going to call that good. in. Kind of stays in the middle there. Which you can kind of see that effect a little bit. Like you can see the camera jerk right there. I'll see it. Other filmers will see it. I don't think the majority of people will notice that little twitch. You can see right in the middle. It just looks a little bit unnatural. Not crazy, but just a little bit. It is what it is. Alright, so that clip, we're deleting it. We're starting with this one. This one is going to be one that's going to take a while. So, we're going to go to transform it. So first things first, he comes in the frame right there. So we already know that he's going to be in the frame over that far. So since we already know he's going to be over that far, we're going to go ahead and start it over here. So now, oops. Now when we go to play it, he jumps into the frame, but see, it cuts out pretty quick afterwards. So maybe we will take it back over this way and see what that looks as a go through, which, let's see what that looks like. You see, this is another shot, like horizontal, the shot looks cool. Now that I gotta do it vertical, I don't like it. Just because of how far out he goes. It takes a lot more than you would think to take that vertical stuff and reduce it all the way down to like a perfect vertical spot when you only have this much room to work with. But nevertheless, we're going to bounce it back and forth a little bit and see how jerky it gets. I have a feeling it might end up looking like crap. So then he goes there, he starts going back over left, so then we got to pull it back over to the left. Left, right. I don't know what you consider left and what you consider right in these situations. Same thing like swiping left, right, and left on a phone. I feel like it's opposite of what people call it. Like if you swipe right, like physically, then it means you're swiping left. In my mind, I don't know. That probably doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to try to explain it. Anyway, we're moving this one way or the other. See, and then right there he starts going back out, so then we got to pull it back. I've never had to watch out for what faces I make while editing before. Apparently I stick my tongue out a lot and I bite my lip a lot. That's how you know you're focused. See, sometimes it goes to 0 easy, and then sometimes it gives me a pain in the butt. Like I said, I don't know if it's the sensitivity of this mouse, if I need to change it in the settings or what. So then these, I'm basically just going through frame by frame I'm making sure it looks okay. And that's pretty close to the end of the clip, so we're just going to wrap it up, call it a day, see what it looks like. See, so that one was way... Did you guys see that twitch at the beginning? It goes left and then back right. I wonder why it does that. That one was pretty noticeable. Why does my phone keep going off? See, this is one of those ones, once you go through and do that whole thing frame by frame, there's really, to my knowledge, there's no good way to go back and correct it other than do the whole thing over again. But with that being the first clip of the video, you don't want that unnatural thing to be the first thing people see. That clip we pulled from the other Instagram video, so it's already done. This clip we pulled from the other Instagram video, so it's already done. The clip had a couple of jerks in it. This one I'm going to go forward a few frames before I start moving it, because I think that gives it a little bit of a smoother transition when it goes through. But then right afterwards is when it went back the other way. But then it ends up centering again, so I don't want to pull it too far out because then it'll goof up the rest of it. So this is one of those things you kind of got to play a little give and take and see what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. So I think for that one we're all good. A little bit of movement, but I don't think it's enough to really mess with anything. There was a lot of movement in the actual camera, so this post-processing and the digital moving of it, I don't think it's livable. This clip here, it honestly kind of looks fine. Fine in the fact that it stays pretty stable throughout the whole thing. It is obviously a little over center, so what I'm hoping we can do is just pull that into the center a little bit more and not have to do this one frame by frame. Oh, it does cuts out the pit board there. So let's try to do this. Let's go here, and then we'll keyframe it here. And then we'll go to the end and put it here. And then that should allow us to see that pit board as he comes through. Alright, so it ends up there, but it's after he already folded the pit board in. Just undid it. Let's go. Let's try this again. We'll go here. We'll keyframe it. Go to the end again. here. See what happens. The same thing, still miss the pit board. But with him coming out of the corner, I don't think there's going to be a good way to see the pit board. You would have to, Coop would be out of the shot. And then it would be on the pit board. I mean, I'll try it, see what it looks like. See what we got here. See, the pit board's still not in the shot. So, I think we're just going to have to call that good. And you guys can rest easy knowing that you know there's a pit board here because you watched this with me. And no one else is going to know that there was a pit board, but you'll know there's a pit board. So it should be simple. Just use that one cut so we keep them in frame right there at the end. Now this one is going to be a pain. This one's going to be a lot, I feel like. All right, so we're going to start it out with old Craigie D right there in the frame. So maybe we'll start him over a little bit more. All right. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let him get all the way over. And then we'll keyframe it from here. Still needs to go farther over. So this is what takes so long, especially trying to, when you film. This is another reason filming with an iPhone, you don't have to do any of this because I just film it vertical. Done. But then it doesn't work when you like post it to YouTube and stuff like that. So it looks cool. It's right where his number plate comes into focus, but you can't see his face. So we got to pick face or number plate. We're going to go number plate, then face. Before we pan back over to Coop. You can see how much you're really moving this thing around just to keep them in frame. All this work just to take the video from how it was filmed to be able to post on Instagram. Hopefully I'm more entertaining doing this and talking than like watching Pappy's Playhouse or watching Steve from Blue's Clues explain how to draw things. Probably not much more exciting than that, but so we start going frame by frame again. Looks like there our camera's about to start moving back over, so we'll go ahead and do it there as far as the keyframing goes. Hopefully, maybe someone will watch this that knows how to edit, and then they'll tell me that I'm an idiot and that I'm taking way too many steps and that there's a simple way to do this and like press a button and it's done. I don't know that black magic. I sit here and do it like this. To my knowledge, it's the only way. But Jiminy Crickets, does it take forever? Keep in mind, we started this out. We're doing one Instagram reel. And we are coming up on 2 hours of streaming. And I'm not even like, I'm literally not even halfway done. Maybe I'm just a tad over halfway done. So 2 hours, we're halfway done with a 56-second Instagram reel. So now when people throw out video prices or when you hear how much videographers make and you want to question it, especially like outside of the moto world, this is why. It's not as simple as film it and put it up. Like this is literally, I'm not even making money off this. This is an Instagram reel that I am putting up on the OTP Instagram page that I've spent 2 hours, and so far I've edited 28 seconds in 2 hours. Puts it in perspective. But see, the worst part is when you go to do something like this, you finally get done with it, and then you find out you have those big old glitches in it, and you got to redo them. Then it starts the whole thing over. Especially like a clip like this. You've seen how much moving I've done in just this clip. A clip like this, when there's a lot of movement and you got to push it all around. I mean, I probably have 30 or more keyframes in this one 5-second clip. And that's how much the digital camera, if you will, is moving all around and moving back and forth to keep them in the frame. But that one's done. Let's see how it came out. See if it worked. So it looks smooth. He stays in. It definitely makes that shot of Craig look really sloppy. Just because it was out of focus for so long. He doesn't go into focus until right there. And in the full video, you see Craig land. And so your attention still stays with Craig when he lands and goes into that next corner. And he stays in focus. But here, you only see him for such a brief amount of time that it looks like he's out of focus the entire time. Like, it actually makes me hate this clip. When I love that clip. I think when we were first putting this thing together, I talked about how much I like that clip. I'm going to move on from it for now. And then just hope that when I play it back full screen, I see something about it that I like. Alright, so in this one, I'm going to start here. And this one you can see kind of went in and out of a good bit too. So it might need several fixes. And when you're putting these together, you never know how they're going to come out until after you do the whole thing and then play it back and look at it. So I try not to take very big chunks. Like, try not to move it too far at once. See, like right there, that's a hellacious camera movement. And so I'm hoping that the digital part of it will be able to keep up. Takes forever. And there's also no video playing during this time, and I don't know what to talk about because literally you see what I'm doing. I'm just keeping them in frame and then playing with this thing, going back and forth until I can make it hit 0. So definitely not the most stimulating part of the effort, but that's why I need people in here asking questions, talking about stuff. That way we have things to talk about instead of aimlessly working through this. I'm really hoping this catches on to where people come on and this is like a legit pre-show so we can chat about everything that needs to be chatted about on the podcast. I'm like literally going cross-eyed from looking at these things for so long. So it looks like that's going to close out this clip. Definitely a little herky-jerky there. See, and when you're looking at things, when you're filming and you see it widescreen, you can see the whole scene, you can see all the stuff in there. It's completely different than when you have to go back and do it vertical and then cut all that stuff out. Like I just noticed it in this next clip where you can't see the end of the turn. So he goes into the turn and you can't see the end of it when it's on vertical, which it's a situation like this where I wish you could. Might get away with being lazy on this one. Just move it over. Almost looks good enough for me. We could tighten that up a little bit. Guess we might as well. We're here. We go here. You have to bring him back. Oh man. It wasn't even keyframed. Keyframe. Gotta hit the button to be able to do it. Dang, that took it way too far back. Before. I don't want to mess this whole thing up. Alright, so we'll go here. Keyframe. And here. go. He's going to end up dropping back again. But then I think this time once he drops back, he stays in there. And I'm going to leave him towards the back end of this frame just because of what I was talking about a second ago of not being able to see that corner. So I'll leave him at the back end of the frame so you can see him. I was making sure that I didn't undo too many changes and mess that up. Same thing, that one's a little jerky, not terrible. This one shouldn't be too bad to be able to keep him in. I want his helmet to stay as the focal point. Those Red Bull helmets are so sick. Ever since I was a kid, like, I was real big into skateboarding, but I always wanted a Red Bull helmet for skateboarding. And then the moto ones are even cooler. Even Caleb Russell didn't get a Red Bull helmet until he started the whole motocross thing, because they only allow a certain amount of Red Bull helmets for each discipline, and for off-road, Taylor Robert and Cody Webb had them. So Caleb Russell, the greatest of all time as far as GNCC and stuff is concerned, spent his whole career and never got a Red Bull helmet. They still had like the Red Bull chin piece, like the whole side of it had Red Bull, but it wasn't a full painted Red Bull helmet. So that tells you how hard it is to get a Red Bull helmet when the greatest of all time at what he does didn't even get a Red Bull helmet until he went to motocross. And I don't know, they obviously have to have a limit for motocross, but it's a lot higher than 2 because there's a lot of people that have them. Like, even like amateur people. Speaking of that, like Taylor Robert, it sounds like his injury was pretty gnarly, like to the point where there's been discussions about him being done, like a career-ending injury, which would be absolutely terrible. That would suck so bad. See, like that one was... That's like jerky and smooth at the same time. I don't even understand how that just happened. What do you know? Another one that we're going to have to do a lot to. So here, make sure we hit our keyframe first. We're going to go when he's in the corner like that. So, yeah, every time you see these little videos posted, you think you just slap them together and throw them up. Not quite the case. And I will be honest, like I don't edit things to the extent that other people edit things to. Like Ian House, I think he is the best editor in the sport, like for sure. And you look at the extent that they go through, it's absolutely nuts. I kind of slap some stuff together. And it still takes this long. So I can only imagine what they're going through. I try to get the best footage that I can. Like, I really focus on filming, because the better you can do filming, the better all of your post-process stuff is going to go. because it's going to be easier to work with. You don't have to go through and do a whole lot of it. The one thing that I don't really know much about that I need to learn about is like color grading. So like these are the colors straight off of the camera, which look okay, but they don't look great. Like they don't look. Looks like there's something up with them. Like it looks like there's a filter or something, but it's just the colors that come off the camera. So I would like to learn more about color grading to be able to account for that. So that's the other thing with the vertical video. It definitely exposes a lot more when you go out of frame, like up or down, like cutting his head off there, just because the subject is so much more of the field that you're looking at. So this one's going to be tricky because I don't know what I want to do here because he goes out so much right there. But because it's such a short time frame, I'm worried that if I go out with him and back with him, it's going to be too jerky. Oh well, let's see what we got. I feel like I should be saying something, but I don't know what there's to say. There's still a few people on here watching, so appreciate you on here watching with me. Like I said, not the most invigorating stuff to watch, but someone might find it interesting to go through this whole process. But nevertheless, whatever you're doing on this lovely Monday, I appreciate you joining it with me. Even if this isn't the most exciting thing that you've ever watched in your life, you're here, and I appreciate it. Normally, I would just be doing this by myself anyway, so I figured might as well do it on here. This is going to look like crap, this clip, because of how fast that motion is right there. Moment of truth. How does that happen? How's he out of frame right there? We just went through this frame by frame. I've never done a keyframe over top of a keyframe. I usually just delete it and start again, but it just let me do this, so I don't know what it's going to actually do. I'm going to go here. I'm going to keyframe that. I have a feeling I'm going to end up having to redo this whole clip again. Nope, I'm leaving it. There's a little bit of wonkiness. I'm leaving it. Send it. We're up. Good enough. It actually kind of kept him in frame because it was so blurry. Last clip. So for this one, it should be relatively simple. We'll go to here. We'll keyframe this. We'll fast forward to when he was out of frame. And we'll put him right in that frame. And right here, he goes back out of the frames. We're going to put him back. And then he's probably going to go right back out of the frames. We're going to do it again. And then we're going to look at the whole thing. And then I'm probably going to go get some food and stop you guys from this suffer fest that you're watching of me doing this. Let's get fancy. For this one, we're going to scale it in. It's supposed to be a little follow. See how it looks. So theoretically, at that point, it should like zoom in with him. And it would be cool to see that dust or that dirt splatter that we talked about earlier. But I also have a feeling it's so grainy for whatever reason. I feel this is going to make it even grainier. So that was just a very subtle, you couldn't even really see the zoom. So, I think this is going to be our final product. You guys ready? Doing your drum roll? The anticipation begins to build. Ooh. All right, ready? Maybe I'll use that song Feels Like Summer. Because he's on his summer Back to Roots tour. Maybe it feels like summer. Which is cool because he's obviously not racing outdoors right now. But this is more realistic for him to show up to. It's another pro rider's compound. The weird part about this was me being there. Cooper Webb should be there. I shouldn't be there. I was just lucky enough to go and film him thanks to Strang sending me the invite. But I mean, he raced a local hare scramble. He was at a local track last night. I just saw. He was at a local track over the weekend. He's racing a J-Day next weekend. Like, he's just been doing all sorts of random stuff, just popping up at local tracks and popping up at random places. And he's calling it his Back to the Roots summer tour. So I think that's pretty cool that he's doing that. Nothing really stood out to me glaringly that I want to change here. There's a couple little things that kind of annoy me that we talked about, but I don't think that they are too bad. And like I said, looking back at it right now, I think it's fine, especially for just throwing it up to Instagram. So what you are watching right now will 99% be what you see on Instagram. So this is my editing process. This is kind of how I approach them. This is how I break it all down into what it is. And then once we convert it to vertical, that's how I get it to stay like that, to be able to put it to social media stuff and have it look semi-decent. So that's going to be it. Yeah. I'm going to go through and tweak a couple things. I'll change a little bit of the color stuff. Not much, because like I said, I just don't know a whole lot about it. I just know from like photo editing and stuff, and so I do a little bit just to tweak it here and there. But largely, I mean, that's gonna be the clip. That's gonna be what you guys see on Instagram. We are at 2 hours and 17 minutes of this stream, and we just completed a 56-second Instagram reel. So when you're looking for video stuff to be done, and this was me like staying pretty much focused the entire time and getting the whole thing done. So when you hear prices, or when you're trying to find somebody to do some stuff for you as far as a creative standpoint, just keep in mind how long this stuff actually takes. But if you did jump on here, or if you're watching this on YouTube later on and you made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. And then hopefully we'll see you on the next one, and we can actually talk about the podcast stuff. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to build up this community and build up people coming on here talking. But I hope that we can do it, because I think it could be pretty cool. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to work on the other ones as well. So you'll see all of this footage coming out here soon. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to OTP. Make sure you follow me on here, subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're watching this out afterwards. And thanks. We'll see you this week for OTP.